with my clients a holistic services. Right, so that is how I progress accordingly. So currently, right now, I'm like what I mentioned earlier, I'm a coach, speaker, as well as a wealth planner. So my whole overarching concept is to help my clients achieve the next level of wealth through wealth planning coaching. So these two different branches. So for wealth planning side, essentially it's financial planning, financial products to help them to manage and build their portfolios. For the coaching side, what I do is I coach companies as well as individuals on personal and professional development skills. Things such as marketing, branding, sales, communication, presentation, high performance mindset, you name it, it is it. But the whole agenda is to help them to increase their income as well as their profit by developing them personally and professionally. So when we put them together, that's how they can achieve the next level of wealth. Having a good financial portfolio as well as having that high income skill set. Yep. So that has been my journey.
Yes, right. All right. So very exciting, to know about those things that you have already established, right? So I think that's you've been doing this for 7 years, going
Yes.
7 years.
Wow, what a ride.
Yeah. All right. So, sir, Coach Thomas, this interview is going to be in a deeper level of for those who are watching right now, who is in the stage of struggling with their businesses. Okay. So we have so much companies. We heard a lot of companies, they are in the closing stage. They could not able to go on to uh, continue, right? And they are planning to close. So is it in connection to our topic today? Okay, so our topic, is it okay to be specialist or generalist? So some of the owners of this business is thinking of these things, all right? So how am I going to stop this business? So I'm going to be a freelancer or continue my business, or what I'm going to do now? So actually that's our main topic for today, Coach Thomas. Kindly, give us some insights of it.
Yep, that's amazing. Very apt. Hmm. Okay, so firstly, what I would say when it comes to starting business itself, I have a few rules that I personally practice. Okay, so the first rule is that they must align with three P's. In my opinion, for a business to be sustainable for a long run, it must be aligned with the founder's purpose, passion, as well as what the founder will be paid for, or also known as profit itself. Right. So, firstly, when they come out with a business, it must align with these three areas. Something they enjoy doing, so that they will feel happy doing it. Something that is aligned with their inner purpose, so they will feel congruent, and that's how they can run their business for a very long time. And another P for paid for or profit, which is what will people pay them for? What skill set they have? What is in demand right now? They have to identify these three P's and build their business from there. All right. The second guideline that I practice is that I will always start off by exploring into business which have low cost, high profit margin, right? So things such as service business, things such as running an agency, things such as affiliate model, all these have lower cost and higher profit margin, because firstly, it reduces the risk of the business owner. They don't have to take up a huge loan right from the start. They don't have to invest a lot of money right from the start. So they will have more financial stability, and from there they can invest the money into upscaling it. When they reach a comfortable level, then they can consider to go into something that is higher cost as well. All right. And the third guideline is something which we are going to share today. It's whether we should be a specialist or generalist, right? So for me, it's my opinion, and I know that a lot of people thinks that specialist is the way to go. It allows them to earn a more premium price. It gives them a more premium positioning. It gives them a more premium brand, right? So nothing wrong with that. I agree about the area of specialist. But to take it a step further, I would always encourage people to be a specialist of a broad category. right? A specialist of a broad category. Category, and when we talk about category, it can be the service provider. For example, marketing services. A specialist in marketing. That's a broad category. A narrow category will be a specialist in Facebook marketing, right? But a broad category will be a specialist in marketing. And why do I encourage people to go for a broad category? Yes, when they first started out, maybe just the singular narrow category, but as they proceed on, they have to expand. Because having a very narrow category, in my opinion, can be quite risky. What if one day Facebook changes its rules and regulation? Although we are on like Facebook Live now. But what if one day Facebook changes its rules and regulation such that Facebook marketing and advertising is no longer very feasible or profitable? Then those who brand themselves solely on Facebook marketing, they will become obsolete, right? But if we brand ourselves in a broad category of marketing, it will give us the space to navigate around. Get it? Right? So that is the topic which we are going deep dive into it, and that is and also my third guideline, which is to be a specialist, but of a broad category. And we see a lot of businesses, like regardless of whether it's McDonald's or Nike, they have a broad category. They don't just provide a singular niche product, right? They may have a niche branding, they have a niche target customer, they have a niche results, but they usually provide different services so that it's easy for them to pivot around accordingly. And in this situation, the current challenges we have, it is essential for us to pivot. And even during peaceful times, these are things which we have to foresee. Even before COVID period, we have to foresee all the different possible scenarios so that this can be part of our plan. A lot of businesses which are doing well right now is either they have foreseen such situation before and they just accelerate their plans, or they were able to pivot efficiently and effectively. And it's a lot of huge companies that go bust during this period of time. This COVID period is actually an ultimate test because we see some companies which we used to think is very strong and have a stable financial position, they go bust. And this whole period truly shows that not all big companies are financially strong within, or they do not have a business model that is actually strong itself. In fact, some of the traditional companies or some of the companies which are not so well known in Singapore, they are still going strong and they are still going tough, right? So it is the ultimate test, I would say, during this COVID period, right?
Yeah, right. Okay. So as you have mentioned, Coach Thomas, no, they have to check as well, of course, the what are they going to aim and their skill sets. Are they prepared? Are they really prepared to go into jump into that? Although lots of advisors saying, okay, go on in being an specialist, being a specialist. But then, before you actually come up into a specialization, you will go through a lot of steps to take, right? Because you cannot actually tell to yourself that you are a specialist once you didn't know about the background of a general background of it, right? Yeah, so kindly help us understand, Coach Thomas, about those people who are actually struggling. How am I going to know if this is if this I know everything. I have so much skills. I have so much things to offer, but how am I going to start becoming a specialist?
Okay, I would say at this point in time, the first question you always want to ask is what is the pain which you can help people to solve, or what is the purpose you can help people to achieve? Because people will be gravitated towards these two things, the pain or the purpose, or in other words, also pleasure, right? Solve pain, help to achieve purpose or pleasure itself, right? So for example, right now, the pain is that many of us are trapped at home. And some of us, we start to get very bored. We start to get very restless. right? Which is why the online entertainment industry is doing so well, because it helps people to solve that pain of being bored and restless at home. This is the pain people are facing now, right? So based on your skill set, what are the pains can you help to solve? So for example, those in the education industry, right? People will still want to learn. People will want to learn how to start businesses from the home or through online platform. So for the business coaches out there, that is a area you can consider to explore as well, right? That can be under pain or purpose, both the same. So you want to ask yourself, what is the thing that you can provide which is relevant in this situation, right? We all have our own skills, but how can we package it accordingly such that it solves a problem or it provides a pleasure and help to achieve the purpose during this point in time?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So that's the step that they have to answer the question first, right?
So what if
So yeah,
what if the pain, for example, lots of people now on the social media, they see the opportunities, a lot of opportunities in the social media. You can sell, you can train, you can consult, you can do bloggings, you can do this kind of thing like podcastings, a lot of things, lots of opportunities can do in social media. But if the concern or the pain now is, let's say, 75%, 80% of people already on the internet, all of us are doing these things, so the competition is high, right? So how are we going to compete then? How are we going to position ourselves to do that? Are you going to be a specialist or generalist? Okay, let's see what. So yeah, that's actually the more and majority people is asking now. A lot of people on the internet doing a lot of opportunities. They started doing a business and everything. They thought one more thing, they thought doing a business online has no costs. Actually, there are a lot of costs there, right? Cost when it comes to subscriptions for your platform, right? Doing
running advertisements.
Yes. So maybe they thought it's just like that. So what can you advise to the people who are planning to go on the social media being as a specialist? So for example, okay, I decided to become a specialist. I am very good in video editing because I saw a lot of people doing social media thing and they don't care about the quality of their videos. So I'd like to be a specialist on doing the video editing. So what is your advice, Coach Thomas, for those people who are now decided to become a specialist, but they are not actually ready when it comes to managing their business online?
Okay, so very good question. There are many different parts to it. So firstly, in the saturated industry, for example, right now, a lot of people are going online. It is even more important for you to brand and differentiate yourself accordingly, right? There are many different strategies you can use to brand and differentiate yourself. And it does not need to come from being a specialist or a generalist. There are people who brand themselves in an amazing manner, and yet they are perhaps a specialist, right? Or they are a specialist of a broad category. It doesn't matter. There are so many different ways to brand yourself. And if you to think about it, shoe brand, there are many different types of shoe brand. But when we talk about shoe brand, especially sports shoe, always those same few names come out. Nike, Adidas, Under Armour. Why is it so? There are hundreds or even thousands of shoe brands out there, but those few names come out, right? It's also a very saturated business. In the car business as well, there are so many different brands of cars, but it's always those same few names that pop up. And there will tend to be an association with those few names. A Lamborghini brand will be different from a Honda brand, right? So firstly, you need that crystal clear clarity of what your brand is, right? So you can brand yourself many different ways, but the most important thing is the clarity, right? You can brand yourself based on what you help people to achieve, right? You can brand yourself based on your target market. Yeah, maybe the person is only focusing on moms or the person is only focusing on entrepreneurs, or the person is only focusing on C-suite leader. That is one way as well. They can differentiate themselves based on their brand image, right? The colors, the collaterals, all this. So there are many different ways to brand it. It's not just based on the products we provide. It's not just based on how narrow we go. We can have a wide category and still remain branded at the same time, right? A very good example is the Virgin Group, right? Virgin Group, they got the gym, they got cinema, they got radio station, but their whole big category is lifestyle. They are still a specialist. They are specialists of providing that lifestyle brand, right? But they have different categories. So we can brand ourselves in many ways, but we do not need to go very narrow just to brand ourselves. That's something we have to take note of.
Yeah, all right. So thank you so much for that insight. Yeah. And yeah, we have questions from our viewers regarding the being a generalist. Okay. So he said he is in the multi-industry business, car business,
In the, sorry, car business, is it
car
CAR?
business. Yeah, car,
Okay,
CAR.
okay.
Okay. And then the idea of putting up a car business, insurance, he includes the insurance, driver's license, accessories, all the suppliers concerning car, you know. Now, he said, since when pandemic came, you know, the profit of course goes down because not all the transportations are now with restrictions. So his question is, he is actually a generalist. Okay, so is it correct, is it correct that his understanding is he is part of the generalisting, though his niche is actually car business?
Okay, so here's the thing. That's why people tend to have a different definition of generalist and specialist. So how do you differentiate a generalist and specialist? For my opinion, generalist is someone who does not go deep. Like you mentioned, car got a lot of different car insurance, car parts, car supplier, car model. If we all understand it just based on the surface, then we are a generalist. But if he is able to deep dive into every single component, then he is a specialist, and he is a specialist of the car category itself. So that is my personal definition, because I disagree, for my opinion, the point that if we are managing so many things, that we are a generalist. I feel that we are a generalist when we don't go deep. But if we are able to go deep into these different branches, we can consider ourselves a specialist. That's my point of view. Look at Elon Musk. He has so many different companies itself, but the whole overarching idea is technology and innovation. Do you consider him a generalist? I don't think so, because most would say that he is a specialist, just that it's a broad category and he goes deep into each of the category of it. Yeah, so that is my personal definition, and this is the definition which I feel is apt when it comes to creating a business that is sustainable, that's strong, that it can hold through different disasters itself. Because I know there's a period of time where people are feeling so overly frustrated and overly attached, where they should just do one single thing. But then again, is it the best move? Because it may be very risky. So I'm not saying that we should do multiple things and then be diluted, but we can do multiple things that comes together so that we can provide our clients an even more amazing services, right? If we were to go to the doctor, if the doctor only know how to solve a headache, but we are having cough and running nose, how? He's not able to provide benefit us, right? So
Yeah.
that is what we should do.
All right. So to all our viewers right now, no, watching Mate Talks, thank you so much for staying tuned in with us with Coach Thomas CHEN. All right, he's from Singapore and a very young entrepreneur. Look at him. He started since like what year is
Uni
that?
days.
7 years ago, 2014.
Yeah, when I was a student in my school, university, NTU. Yeah.
Wow, wow. Look at him now. All right. So all our viewers, thank you so much. And yeah.
Old already.
And this is again, our topic is about, is it good or better to be a specialist or generalist? So he just, differentiate the two things, being a specialist and being a generalist. Being generalist, it doesn't mean that you are, managing a lot of things. All right. So it means, right, coach. So specialist is actually broad knowledge about of a thing, no? So meaning you cannot be a specialist if you don't know the in and outs of the business, right? All right. Okay.
Yep.
So okay. So another question here, Coach Thomas, regarding the business owners now. Okay, business owners looking forward to develop their services abroad.
Mm,
Okay, so meaning to say going global.
mm,
Okay, so the question now is, now that we are entering the power or using the power of internet, how are we? Is it allowed to do business over internet, over global marketing, targeting global markets? So that's a question of one of the specialists here.
Yeah, amazing question. In fact, now is the best opportunity. So to be very upfront, before the COVID period, I was just based in Singapore. It was because of the COVID period that I started venturing overseas, that I started to have overseas opportunities, that I started to give talks, provide services overseas as well. Now it's an amazing opportunity because people are more open to having foreign providers, right? Before this whole situation itself, if you are providing, let's say, a coaching services, they want to see you in person. Right now, in this period, everyone don't want to see you in person. Please stay away. So now is a perfect opportunity, and they will even want people who are overseas because it gives them a different perspective, right? And this whole program itself is an example, may just reach out to me on Facebook and here am I. That shows how accessible this whole period is. And yes, you should certainly start to venture overseas. And the same rules apply. What are the problems and the pleasure you can give? Because in different countries there may be a different concept to it, so you also need to do your research whatsoever. There are some concepts that are universal, such as coaching. Everywhere needs coaching, or certain areas of personal development. Every areas need personal development, finance management, regardless. That is also one way you can go into. So you still have to do your market research and everything. But now is an amazing time to venture overseas. In fact, it will be the future of businesses, and it will open so many more market for you, right? Now you're not just limited to your country. Like for me in Singapore, it's quite a small place, so it can be very saturated for entrepreneurs. But right now we can venture everywhere, right?
All right. Yes. Thank you so much for that answer. Okay, for answering that question of our one of our viewers. Okay, so another question. We will get three more questions, and then the interview is going to be finished. All right. So let's
Yeah,
talk.
please. I mean, the more the merrier. I
Okay.
have
Okay.
reserved tonight specially for me and all of you.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Okay. So next question would be um, all right, follow up question regarding that question a while ago. If they're allowed to do business over internet targeting global markets, the follow up question is, um, how about the registration of the business? Is it I, I don't know if it's related still with the topic that we're going to discuss today, but then maybe it is because they are now planning to become specialists. Okay, so yeah, follow up question. Once they now they know that they can and allowed to do business over internet or targeting global markets, what about their business registration? The internet itself or the softwares itself, they can give them, permission to target markets to do business. How about the taxations?
Well, it's very interesting because if any of you have run Facebook ads before, right? Facebook is so smart in the way that it plays safe by itself. So once you run Facebook ads, especially when you use a lead form, it will already have a disclaimer right there. Refers to the company's privacy policy, sorry. So actually everything is safeguarded. With regards to whether business registration, you can still use your own business unless you want to set up another station overseas, but you can use your own current business to do business overseas as well. Of course, you will always want to have safeguard things such as contracts, things such as agreements, understanding MOU to play safe. But of course, at the same time, I always believe that we don't want to be too stringent because our customer may feel a little bit squeezed when before they even employ our services, we give them a 10-page contract. So sometimes we need to be a bit open on that. Of course, we also need to safeguard ourselves. So it's about the risk management, the risk to reward management itself. Like for example, for me, I am open to giving money back guarantee when the client feels that it is not something for them. But of course, I will put a criteria that they can only activate this option right after the first coaching session. It cannot be after a 6 months coaching session, then they say money back guarantee. Then I invested 6 months in them. So you need to have all these safeguard for you to run the business smoothly as well.
All right. So they need also to check the customer service now part, the risks of that. Okay, so it's not actually good to, putting up a business online, setting up business online, but you don't know the background of legalities and yeah. So it is also advised to consult as well with the risk management team, right? Mm-hmm.
Do your
Okay.
research. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yep. All right. So another question, two more questions. Okay.
Please ask
Um,
more if you want to.
okay. There in Singapore, um, they have so much things to show this time on online. So meaning the Singaporeans are now, taking this opportunity, being specialist bloggers, something like that. So they notice that Singaporeans are very good in teaching and coaching. So is that is there any probability of project collaboration with Singaporeans? So from your end, you may answer with these things. If
And
you
that is very, very true. Yeah, now, especially during the COVID period, the education and training and coaching industry has been booming. I'm not sure how he managed to have that foresight. But yes, so we have people who are training on property investment, people who are training on stocks investment, people who are training in digital marketing, e-commerce, different things. It is booming, right? And all these educational providers are spending millions on advertisements so that people are aware of all these educational courses. And I can tell why it's so popular because firstly, it's a low cost, high profit margin business, right? Previously, when it comes to conducting a seminar, we need to book a room, we need to prepare food, we need to prepare logistics. But right now, we just need a Zoom. So it has helped the education industry a lot. And that's why it's getting more and more popular. And at the end of the day, everyone will have something to teach, right? Regardless whether you are good at cooking, you are good at communication, whatsoever your niche is about how you package it. So, and that's the reason why education industry is booming, especially in Singapore itself. Is there a room for collaboration? Definitely. I have collaborated with people from overseas as well, and overseas people have collaborated in Singapore as well. So it is about how you find that market, how you find that person to bring you in or the opportunity to bring you in. Like personally for me, aside from my personal context, I do a lot of cold emailing. It works, right? I done cold emailing, it works amazingly. The thing is whether how much you want to do. Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much. So to all our viewers and for Miss Lyra who's asking this question, a lot of opportunities, that coming in in collaboration with Singaporeans. Like Coach Thomas said, a lot of opportunities. Okay, just communicate. Okay, if you missed, actually, if you missed his talk yesterday, he talked about communicate, connect to communicate. Lots of tips there. Okay, so last question from our viewers. Okay, specialist and generalist. Okay, so they already know the difference of the two, and they see themselves now their position. You know, all right. So managing in terms of management, being a specialist or generalist, how differ is that in terms of management? Maybe the question here is how hard or which one is easier to manage, being specialist or generalist?
Right, right. Okay, so naturally, when you focus on one singular thing, you will put 100% of your focus there, right? But the key here is that, like what I mentioned, so just to reiterate everything, I'm totally for specialists, right? I'm totally for specialists, but I am specialist of a broad category. So by nature of that, it seems that I have many different things to manage. But if you think about it, all these different branches, right? You can share resources, you can share clients, you can share different prospect itself. So it is about how you manage and maximize it so that you are able to do it well. Yes, there will certainly be more things to manage because now you have a broader category, but you want to ask yourself how you can leverage on each of these different branches in that broad category, right? For example, like what I mentioned, I do coaching as well as wealth planning. So some of my wealth planning clients are my coaching clients as well. So during the wealth planning phase, I also coach them. And some of my coaching clients, they become my wealth planning clients as well. And on a company level, while I help the company to scale their businesses, I also help to plan their finances, right? So it is all about how you manage it accordingly, right? How you share the resources accordingly, and that's how you can maximize it accordingly as well.
All right. So thank you so much for answering that question. I hope we satisfied our viewers. And sorry, one last follow-up question on that.
Yes, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah, no worries at all.
All right. So all right. So when it comes to starting point, maybe setting up, maybe the question is setting up a business, being a specialist. Okay. So let me read this question. Okay. This, okay. So maybe the question here is this one. How did you started? Okay. Any advice when you started your business as a specialist? What are the struggles and uh, what are the things that you have overcome, and then until now you are operating as a specialist? Struggles
Okay,
and overcoming struggles, advice, something like that.
all right, understand. So to be very open and honest with all of you, the way I started isn't the way I recommended. Which is why I recommend this now, because I have been through that phase, I have been through that mistake itself. So at the start, right, I was focusing on a lot of different things, but I did not go deep, which is why I say that back then I'm a generalist because I did not go deep. But now I'm a specialist. So although I have a lot of portfolios, I go deep into every single portfolio to have that broad category of helping people achieve the next level of wealth itself, right? So when I first started out, because I have so many different things that I want to try out, I did not go deep. I became a generalist. So for people out there, right, when you first started out, yes, that is the time where you should be very narrow because you want to learn on that thing. But after you get good at it, you don't want to stay comfortable. You want to slowly start to broaden to have that category itself, right? But yes, when you first started, go really niche so that you can establish a position, you can become great at it. And then when you start to broaden, right, other people will see you as someone who's even better because now you are able to provide all these holistic services for them to become even better. Like McDonald's, right? So McDonald's fast food, they also have different branches like McCafe, the one which sells coffee and the other pastry itself. So it did not dilute itself. In fact, the customers see it as providing an even more amazing service, because after they have their meal, they can go to McCafe to get a coffee, right? So this is the key that we want to go into. We start with one, then we start to broaden. But throughout, we are a specialist. We really want to deep dive in every single thing we do. So that is one of my struggle. All right. So the other struggle is also, I don't know, with all these different portfolios that I'm doing, right? I didn't know how to put it together to have that big category. I took a while to think, because I do coaching, I do wealth planning, I do speaking. So I took a while to reflect, what is that common point? You want to reflect and think, what is that common point? So the common point for me, right, is to help people achieve the next level of wealth, right? Because to achieve the next level of wealth, they need two things. They need a strong financial portfolio, and they need to increase their income and profit, which is where the coaching comes in. So I have that whole big category already. So it took me a while for me to figure it out. All of you should try your best to figure it out. Let me give you another example. Tony Robbins. You know who's Tony Robbins?
Yeah.
Yes. So Tony Robbins, right, he teaches many different things. He teaches on finance, he teaches on business, he teaches on relationship, he teaches on life. So many different categories. But do you consider him a generalist? No, he's a specialist. Why? Because he has this broad category called breakthroughs. He's a specialist of breakthroughs. He helps you to break through your finance, your relationship, your life, your business, whatsoever. He's here to help you achieve your breakthroughs. So for me, now that I have, after some exploration, I've identified that category of mine is to help people to achieve the next level of wealth. So
Right.
what is that category? Yeah.
Yeah, so you're now a specialist. Okay,
Yep,
so
I'm now a specialist.
yes, you're now a specialist. You have broad knowledge in the finance and wealth categories, so you are now a specialist. All right, so I may call you now specialist Thomas Shen. Okay, so all right, so actually, so there's a lot more of question actually, but I'm not going to we will set another meeting with your interview with you, and hopefully by that time we can give more follow up topic on that regarding a specialist, no? Specialist, being a specialist. So we will
Part
figure,
two.
yeah, part two. We will be having a part two session with you. All right. So thank you so much, Coach Thomas Shen, for giving us this opportunity, and for all our viewers. Hopefully, we can we give you a lot of tips. We being a specialist and generalist for this topic with Coach Thomas Shen. Yes, a specialist, Thomas Shen, kindly promote whatever your engagements in with your business.
Right. So feel free to connect me on social media. If any of you have any questions, then you can approach me from there, and I will certainly love to value add you as much. I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, so you can connect with me on either or both, and I hope that I'm able to value add all of you as much as I can. Yep, that's from me.
All right, so thank you so much, and we're so full. We're so full, full
I'm
of
very full too.
information.
I just had dinner.
Hopefully, to visit, we can visit you there in Singapore soon.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, praying, COVID is over. All right. So thank you so much, Thomas Shen, for your time, and God bless you. Regards to your family. All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right, so that's Coach Thomas Shen. He has a lot of insights. He gave us a lot of insights regarding being a specialist and generalists. Okay, so it's also he differentiate the difference of the two. Okay, so so to our viewers, are we specialists or generalists? Okay, so we'll be having another session with him, part two interview, no? Part two interview with Thomas Shen. Okay, and for the remaining minutes, for another 5 minutes, remaining 5 minutes. I'd like to invite all of you. Okay, I would like to invite all of you to watch again us on Tuesday. Okay, another topic that we're going to discuss, and hopefully this May Talks is your favorite, gonna be your favorite live podcast, no? Okay, so you can get some more value to your business. So we are trying everything, every single moment we are touching. Get in touch with the speakers, to give you value for your business, and for especially for those aspiring business owners and aspiring to be promoted in their employment. Yeah, we're giving you more topics on that. Okay, so for people who are asking about having a topic regarding church management, okay, we will do that. We're praying we can get a pastor to give a talk here in May Talks, and it's also and inviting. Okay, I'm inviting all the loving pastors over there to please meron po tayong requests, no, from our viewers. Okay, managing business from the side of pastors, yung point of view po. Okay, from the pastors. All right, so yeah, that's all for tonight. Thank you so much for watching us again. And this is your host. Huwag niyo pong sasawaan. Pag sasawaan, panoorin. May Talks, we build value and wealth together. Good night, everyone. God bless.